On the morning they found the baby, the river looked ordinary, almost bored with itself. Mist floated above the brown water, birds tested their first songs, and women from the indigenous village walked the muddy bank with empty baskets and tired eyes. They expected fish, laundry, small talk, nothing else. Then a sound tore through the quiet. It wasn't wind, or an animal, or a boat. It was a cry. Thin, desperate, refusing to die out. At the next bend, they saw a small bundle trapped between branches, a soaked city blanket wrapped around a shaking body. Tiny fingers, a red face. No name, no note, no footprints on the shore. Just a life someone had tried to leave behind. In that moment, the village had to choose, turn away, or take the child home as one of their own. Before the story continues, tell me in the comments from which country you are watching this video right now. Because this isn't just about one village in the forest. It's about what family really means, and who has the right to say the word son. Stay with me until the end to hear what the boy finally chooses today. The boy was given the name Aruwanan, a word that meant one who arrives with the morning light. No one remembered who suggested it first, but everyone agreed it fit him the moment they spoke it aloud. He was small, fragile, barely breathing the day they carried him from the river, yet his eyes opened wide every sunrise as if a promise had been written just for him across the sky. Aruwanan grew surrounded by voices that were not his blood, yet somehow felt like echoes of something older. The women who found him, Nara, Imani, and Old Lura, became his circle of mothers. They were the ones who had pulled the soaked blanket off his skin that morning, drying him with trembling hands, whispering prayers that were half fear, half instinct. To them, he was not an outsider. He was simply a baby who needed warmth. But not everyone in the village shared their certainty. Some elders questioned the silence that surrounded his arrival. No footprints near the water, no canoe, no sound of someone running away. A child abandoned without a trace was not something the village had words for. Still, the women insisted the river had carried him there because their hands were meant to catch him. The chief, Kairu, was a man who carried caution inside his ribs. He had seen outsiders before, researchers, surveyors, lost fishermen, and he knew the world beyond the trees could be careless, even cruel. If this child comes from the city, he warned, trouble may come searching for him one day. But after hours of arguing, he accepted what the majority felt. The boy deserved a life, and they had been chosen to give it. Kairu appointed Rami, a quiet hunter with gentle eyes, as the boy's guardian. Rami had lost his wife years before and lived alone at the edge of the village, with only a hammock, a clay pot, and a wall carved with old memories. When they placed the baby into his arms, something inside him softened like wet earth. He agreed to raise Aruwanan without hesitation. As the years passed, the river boy learned to walk between tree roots, laugh at the splash of fish in the shallows, and run with the other children over warm earth. He spoke the language of the village with a strangely quick tongue, as if his mouth had always been waiting for those sounds. He asked questions. Too many, some adults joked, and listened with wide-eyed awe whenever Rami told him stories around the fire. But even in the deepest comfort, the past leaves shadows. Aruwanan sometimes stood at the riverbank alone, staring at the curve where he had once been found. He didn't remember the blanket that had wrapped him, or the arms that had abandoned him, but he felt something hollow in the quiet moments, something shaped like a missing piece. Rami tried to fill that space with love, patience, and the steady certainty of a man who had already lost too much, but he could not erase every question. One night, when Aruwanan was about 7, he asked Rami the question that had been waiting inside him since his first memory. Was I born here? Rami's chest tightened. He had promised the elders he would tell the boy the truth when the time came, but he had hoped that day would arrive later, much later. Still, he knelt, met the boy's gaze, and answered with the honesty that had always guided him. No, Aruwana, you came to us by the river. But that doesn't mean you are not ours. The boy thought for a moment, then asked the question that hurt even more. Why was I left there? Rami hesitated. He didn't know. No one did. All he could offer was the truth he believed. Maybe someone hoped the river would bring you to safety, and it did. It brought you to me. The boy nodded, but his eyes held something older than his age, something like longing. As Arwanan grew into a teenager, he became one of the most skilled trackers in the village. He could read broken branches like a book, sense hidden footsteps in the dirt, and spot danger in the rustle of leaves. Rami taught him everything he knew, and the boy absorbed each lesson as though his bones had been shaped for it long before he learned to walk. Still, the hollow inside him never fully disappeared. Some nights he wondered about the world beyond the forest. He had seen distant lights once, far past the river bend, cold, white, trembling like stars that didn't belong to the sky. He knew those lights were from the city, and sometimes he felt a strange pull in that direction, like a whisper calling him by a name he didn't remember. Everything changed in the rainy season of his 15th year. The river swelled, the banks softened, and the village stayed close together during the downpours. Arwana was repairing roof palms with Rami when they heard the bark of a dog, sharp, unfamiliar, echoing through the trees. Dogs existed in the city, not in their village. The sound came again, closer, urgent. Then came footsteps. Heavy ones. Not the quiet tread of a hunter. Not the skipping steps of a child. Not the shuffle of an elder. Someone was moving through the forest with purpose. Arwana looked at Rami, and the hunter's expression told him everything. They were not expecting anyone. The footsteps stopped at the edge of the clearing. A man emerged from the trees, wet from the rain, breathing hard, holding a worn backpack. His clothes were city clothes. His boots were city boots. His beard was messy, his eyes sunken from exhaustion. But when those eyes lifted and landed on Arwanan, something inside them broke open. Shock, disbelief, and a kind of pain that didn't belong to strangers. The man took a trembling step forward. "Meu Deus," he whispered, voice cracking. Then, in English, choked with emotion, "It's really you. My son." Rami stepped between them instantly, instinctively, as if shielding Arwana from a blow. The clearing tightened, the air thickened, and Arwana felt his heartbeat pounding against the cage of his chest. He had no idea who the man was. But the man clearly believed he knew everything about him, and nothing in the boy's life would ever be the same again. The rain had softened into a steady drizzle, but the weight in the air made it feel heavier than any storm. Arwana stood frozen, unable to look away from the stranger's trembling lips, from the mud on his boots, from the way his chest kept rising and falling as if he'd been running for miles. The man's eyes held something fierce and fragile at the same time, something that felt dangerously close to recognition. Rami didn't let him take even one step closer. "Who are you?" the hunter demanded, his voice low but sharp enough to cut through the humidity. He positioned himself fully between the man and the boy, one foot forward, shoulders tense, ready to shield. "Say your name." The man swallowed hard, wiped rain from his brow, and tried to steady his breath. "My name is Daniel," he said. "Daniel Costa." His accent wasn't from the forest. It wasn't even from the nearby towns. It was the smooth, hurried tone of people who lived surrounded by traffic and neon lights, people who rarely looked at the sky. He glanced past Rami, toward Arwana, as if the boy were a ghost he had been chasing for years. "I've been searching for him," Daniel whispered. "For 15 years." A murmur rippled through the small crowd that had gathered. Women held onto their children. Men crossed their arms. Elder Kairu stepped forward, his face a carved mask of caution. "You claim this boy is yours," Kairu said. "Why now? Why come after so long?" Daniel's jaw tightened. He opened the zipper of his backpack with shaking hands and pulled out a faded photograph. Rain had worn the edges, but the image was still clear enough. A young man, Daniel, holding a newborn wrapped in a blue blanket, the same blanket the women had found by the river. Gasps broke through the group. Arwana felt the sound blow through him like a sudden gust of wind. His throat tightened. The world blurred around the edges. Daniel held the photo against his chest and spoke, voice raw. "He was my son, my only son. When he was 2 months old." He paused, jaw trembling as he fought something inside. "My wife was struggling. Her mind, her emotions. She wasn't well after the birth. One morning when I came home, both she and the baby were gone. Arowana felt something heavy shift inside him, like the first crack in a wall he didn't know existed. Daniel continued, words shaking. I searched everywhere. I told the police, hospitals, shelters, anyone who might have seen them. Days later, they found my wife wandering near the river. She didn't know where the baby was. She didn't even remember leaving home. His voice cracked. She died some months later, and I kept searching for him. Silence fell across the clearing like a blanket. Nara, one of the women who had found the baby, stepped forward. Her eyes softened with a grief that wasn't hers, but felt shared. You're saying the mother abandoned him? She asked quietly. Daniel nodded. Not intentionally. She wasn't herself. Arowana felt a sting in his chest. Sharp, confusing. All these years he had imagined someone placing him in the river because they didn't want him, because he wasn't worth keeping. But now, this story, as broken as it was, held a different kind of pain. Not rejection, not cruelty, illness, loss, chaos. Still, he didn't speak. He didn't trust his voice. Daniel stepped forward, but Kairu raised a hand sharply. Stop there, the chief ordered. Words are not enough. We must understand your intentions. Daniel nodded, swallowing. I don't want to take him, he said quickly. Not if he doesn't want to go. I just needed to know he was alive. I needed to see him with my own eyes. He looked at Arowana again, and this time the boy didn't look away. Their eyes met, brown and brown, the same shade, the same depth. A small shock ran through Arowana's body, as if something inside him recognized the truth before his mind could catch up. But truth was complicated, and so was belonging. Kairu circled Daniel slowly, studying the man from every angle, as if deciding whether he was a threat or merely a wounded soul. If you found your son, Kairu said, why not take him home? Why leave the choice to him? Daniel pressed his lips together, then spoke with a trembling honesty. Because this is his home, he said. Look at him. Look at all of you. He grew up here. He speaks your language, walks your paths, knows your forest. I don't want to tear that away. I only want to give him something he's never had from the world outside. He paused. The truth. Rami's jaw tightened. And what truth is that? That he wasn't abandoned because he was unwanted, Daniel said. He was lost because his mother needed help I didn't know how to give. The words hit Arowana like a stone thrown into still water, ripples spreading, breaking long-held beliefs. For years he had carried an ache, a silent question behind every laugh, every smile, every shared meal. Why was I left behind? Was I too small to love? Too easy to forget? Now suddenly the answer had a face, a voice, a trembling pair of hands holding a ruined photograph. Rami turned to Arowana gently. You don't have to speak, he said. Not today. Not now. You can take time. But Arowana shook his head. He stepped forward, boots sinking into the soft earth, heart pounding so loudly he could hear it in his ears. He stood just a few feet from Daniel. The man's breath hitched. Up close, Arowana could see the resemblance that others had already whispered about. The curve of the jaw, the shape of the eyebrows. Even the small scar on Daniel's left cheek mirrored faintly on Arowana's right. Something he had always assumed came from childhood play. Arowana swallowed hard. I don't know you, he said quietly, but I think you're telling the truth. Daniel's eyes filled instantly with tears, but he didn't reach for the boy. He didn't move an inch. He simply nodded, lips trembling. Thank you, he whispered. Before anyone could say more, Kairu raised his voice. The village will meet tonight, he announced. We will decide how long this man may stay and under what conditions. Until then, Rami will watch him. Daniel nodded in acceptance. He wasn't here to fight. He wasn't here to claim ownership. He was here for something softer, more desperate. Arowana watched him, torn between two worlds he hadn't asked for, but now couldn't escape. The river had carried him once. Now it felt like life itself was carrying him somewhere new, somewhere frightening, somewhere necessary, somewhere he could no longer run from. Night fell quietly over the village, the kind of quiet that feels like the world is holding its breath. Fires were lit in small circles, sending orange halos across the clearing. The elders gathered near the largest hut, waiting for the final word from Kairu. Women whispered among themselves. Children peeked from behind woven walls, and Arowana sat alone on a fallen log, staring at the darkness beyond the trees. For the first time in his life, he wasn't sure where he belonged. He heard footsteps behind him, soft, familiar. Rami sat beside him without speaking. The hunter didn't offer comfort or advice or even a hand on his shoulder. He simply shared the silence. That had always been his way. Presence first, words later. Arowana exhaled slowly. "Everyone's waiting for the meeting," he murmured. Rami nodded. "Yes, but the meeting won't decide everything." "How not?" Arowana asked. "They'll decide if he stays. That's just one part," Rami replied gently. "The rest, only you can decide." Arowana lowered his gaze. His chest felt like a knot pulled too tight. "I don't know what I want." "That's because everything changed today," Rami said. "And when things change too fast, the heart gets confused before it gets clear." Arowana looked up at the stars, the same stars he'd watched since he was a child. "Do you think he really searched for me? All these years?" "I saw his eyes," Rami said. "Pain doesn't lie, and neither does hope." Arowana swallowed. A piece of him felt lighter hearing that. Another piece felt heavier. What if I care about him?" Arowana asked quietly. "What if that makes me betray this place?" Rami shook his head. "Caring is not betrayal. Roots don't break when branches grow. They hold tighter." Arowana closed his eyes. The knot loosened a little. From across the clearing, Daniel stood watching the two of them. He stayed at a respectful distance, hands clasped, shoulders tense. He hadn't eaten since he arrived. He barely drank. He looked like a man terrified of breaking something already fragile. When Kairu finally called everyone to the center of the village, torches were placed in a circle, and an expectant hush fell. Daniel approached slowly, guided by an elder. Arowana and Rami took their places beside the fire. Kairu raised his hands for silence. "We have listened to Daniel's story," he began. "We have seen the photograph. We have heard the truth of his wife's suffering and the years he spent searching." He paused. "We have also seen Arowana grow under our care. He is one of us. We protect him. We love him." Murmurs of agreement echoed softly. Kairu continued. "Our decision is this. Daniel may stay in the village for 3 nights. During this time, he may speak with Arowana, share his story, and answer questions. After 3 nights, he must return to the city. Whether Arowana wishes to see him again, after that will be the boy's choice." Arowana felt his heartbeat soften. Relief washed through him, not because of the decision, but because they were giving him space to think, to breathe. Daniel bowed his head. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice cracked. "More than you know." That night, after most of the village had gone to sleep, Arowana approached Daniel for the first real conversation between them. The man sat on a stump near the firelight, turning the faded photograph in his hands. Arowana stood in front of him. "Tell me about her," he said. "About my mother." Daniel looked up slowly, eyes full of a sadness that was neither sharp nor bitter, just deeply human. "Her name was Helena," he said softly. "She loved music. She painted when she couldn't sleep. She laughed too loud at old movies. She wanted to be the kind of mother who made everything warm." Arowana sat beside him. "What happened to her?" he asked. Daniel hesitated, then spoke with careful honesty. "After you were born, something changed. Some mothers feel joy after birth, others feel fear. But she felt lost, like she was floating outside her own life. She loved you. She truly did. But her mind, it broke in ways I didn't understand back then." He ran a hand over his face. I failed her by not seeing how much she needed help. Arowana listened quietly, absorbing each word like a stone dropped gently into still water. Did she ever say my name? He asked. Daniel smiled sadly. Every day, but she called you by different names. Sometimes yours, sometimes mine, sometimes no one's. He looked up. But she always held you close. Even when she was slipping away, you were the one thing she clung to. Arowana felt warmth spread behind his ribs, a quiet release. The next day, Daniel walked with him through the forest paths. He told Arowana about the city, the noise, the traffic, the crowds, the constant hurry. Arowana told him about fishing with Rami, climbing trees, racing with friends, sleeping under the stars. It felt strange and natural at the same time. On the second night, Daniel admitted something he had been afraid to say. If you choose to stay here forever, he said, I will accept it. I won't fight it. I won't ask you to come with me. I only want you to know the truth, and to know that someone out there still thinks of you every day. Arowana looked at him closely. Do you want me to leave with you? Daniel's breath trembled. I want you to be happy, and I want to be part of your life, even if it's from far away. The third night came faster than anyone expected. Daniel packed his backpack in silence, hands lingering on the small gifts the villagers had given him. Dried fruit, woven bracelets, a small carved figure made by one of the children. Arowana approached him quietly. Will you come back? He asked. If you want me to, Daniel answered. Arowana hesitated, then nodded. Daniel's eyes filled. He knelt so they were face to face. I don't want to replace Rami, he said. I don't want to erase anything you are. I just want to know you, as much as you'll let me. Arawana's voice was steady but soft. You can be part of my life. But this, he looked around the village. This is home. Daniel nodded with respect, not disappointment. Then I'll visit again, he said. And you can visit me someday too, if you ever wish. Before dawn, Daniel walked to the edge of the forest. He turned back once. Arowana raised a hand. Daniel did the same. Two worlds connected not by blood or obligation, but by understanding. As the man disappeared between the trees, Arowana felt something shift inside him. Not emptiness, not confusion. Peace. For the first time in his life, the question, where do I belong, had an answer. Not one place, not one man, not one story, but all of them. He was the river boy, the village son, the child found and the child reclaimed, and the path ahead, whatever it became, finally felt like it belonged to him.